were the Canaanites, the ancient biblical people credited with inventing the alphabet? The Canaanites were made up of different ethnic groups who lived in the ancient land of Canaan, Israel that is, and they likely invented the world's first alphabet. The Canaanites were people who lived in the land of Canaan, an area that ancient texts indicate may have included parts of modern-day Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan. Much of what scholars know about the Canaanites comes from records left by the people they interacted with. Some of the most detailed surviving records come from the sites of Ammana in Egypt and from the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament that is. Additional information comes from excavations of archaeological sites that the Canaanites are thought to have lived in. Scholars doubt that the Canaanites were ever politically united into a single kingdom. Archaeological excavations indicate that the Canaanites were actually made up of different ethnic groups. During the Late Bronze Age, 1550 to 1200 BC, Canaan was not made up of a single ethnic group, but consisted of populations whose diversity may be hinted at by the great variety of burial customs and cultic sculptures, wrote Anne Kilbrew, archaeologist professor at Penn State, in her book Biblical Peoples and Ethnicity, an archaeological study of Egyptians, Canaanites, Philistines, and early Israel, 1300 to 1100 BC. Now the genetic findings. Recent DNA research has found that the Canaanites were the descendants of Stone Age settlers in Lebanon. The Canaanites are also the ancestors of modern-day Lebanese people. In a 2017 study in the American Journal of Human Genetics, researchers looked at the ancient DNA of 5 Canaanites who lived between 3,650 and 3,750 years ago. That's about 1,700 BC, and who were buried in Sidon, an ancient city in what is now Lebanon. The team compares this DNA with that of 99 modern Lebanese people and more than 300 other people in an ancient DNA database. The results showed that the Canaanites descended from a Stone Age people who had mixed with newcomers from Iran around 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. The study also shows that today's Lebanese are largely Canaanite, although around 3,000 years ago, their ancestors mixed with Eastern hunter-gatherers and Eurasian steppe people. The ancient records. The earliest undisputed mention of the Canaanites comes from fragments of a letter found at the site of Mari, a city located in modern-day Syria. Dating back about 3,800 years, the letter is addressed to Yasmach Adad, a king of Mari, and says that the thieves and Canaanites are in a town called Rahishum. The surviving portion of the letter alludes to a conflict or disorder that is taking place in the town. Another early text that talks of the people who lived in Canaan dates back about 3,500 years and was written on a statue of Idrimi, a king who ruled a city named Alalak in modern-day Turkey. Idrimi says that at one point he was forced to flee the city in Canaan called Amiya, possibly located in modern-day Lebanon. Idrimi does not call the people Amiya Canaanites, but instead names a variety of different lands they are from, such as Halab, Nihi, Amai, and Mukish. Idrimi claims that he was able to rally support at Amiya and become king of Alalak. However, this does not mean that the different people in Canaan never grouped together. Administrative texts found at Alalak and another city named Ugarit, located in modern-day Syria, show that the designation of the land of Canaan was employed to specify the identity of an individual or group of individuals in the same way that others were defined by their city or land of origin, wrote Brendan Benz, Associate Professor of History of William Jewell College in Missouri, in his book, The Land Before the Kingdom of Israel, a history of the southern Levant and the people who populated it. For instance, a male from the city in Canaan who was living at Alalak or Ugarit could be identified in records as being a man of Canaan or being a son of Canaan, Benz wrote. A number of texts that mention Canaan come from the site of Amarna in Egypt. Amarna was constructed in the capital of Egypt by the pharaoh Akhenaten. He reigned around 1353 BC, and he was the father of King Tutankhamun, King Tut, and a ruler who tried to focus Egypt's polytheistic religion around the worship of one god, Aten, or the sun disk. The text consists of diplomatic correspondences between Akhenaten and his immediate predecessors and successors, and various rulers in the Middle East. Modern-day scholars often call these texts the Amarna letters. The letters show that there were several kings in Canaan. A diplomatic passport written by Tusurata, a king of Mitanni, a kingdom located in northern Syria, tells the kings of the land of Canaan to let his messenger Achiya pass through safely to Egypt, and warns the kings of Canaan that no one is to detain him. The letters also show that Egypt held considerable power over these Canaanite kings. The letter, written by a king of Babylon named Burias, complains about the killing of Babylonian merchants in Canaan and reminds Egypt's pharaoh that the land of Canaan is your land and its kings are your servants. Egyptian texts also show that Egypt's pharaoh sent military expeditions into Canaan. A column, a stele erected by a pharaoh named Mer-Neptah, he reigned around 1213 BC, claimed that Canaan has been plundered into every sort of woe. The same stele, the column, also claims that Mer-Neptah laid waste to Israel. The Hebrew Bible. The Canaanites are frequently mentioned in the Hebrew Bible. Canaan is described as Noah's grandson. Canaan's father Ham saw Noah naked and then told Noah's other sons about it. It enraged, and Noah cursed Canaan. Genesis 9:24 and 9:25. The Bible later describes how Noah's descendants Abraham and his wife Sarah journeyed to Canaan, and how the Israelites later left Canaan for Egypt. The Bible details that after the Egyptians enslaved the Israelites, God promised to give the land of Canaan, along with land belonging to several other groups, to the Israelites after the Exodus, when they escaped from Egypt. And once in Canaan, the Israelites fought a series of wars against the Canaanites and other groups, which led to the Israelites taking over most of Canaanites' land, according to the Bible. The text says that the Canaanites who survived had to do forced labor, Judges 1:28. The stories also say that this conquered land was incorporated into the powerful Israelite kingdom and eventually split into two. The historical accuracy of some of these stories, however, is debated. Some researchers believe that there was no exodus from Egypt, arguing that there's no evidence the Israelites left Canaan during the second millennium BC. The Canaanite archaeology today. Archaeologists continue to find artifacts from the Canaanites. For example, a team found a 3,000-year-old temple built by the Canaanites in what is now southern Israel. Within the temple's inner sanctuary, archaeologists found an idol of Canaanite gold, Baal, the god Baal, that was the object of prayer and sacrifice. In another excavation, archaeologists in Israel unearthed a 3,800-year-old Canaanite ark made out of mud bricks that may have been used by a cult during the Middle Bronze Age. Another find in Israel revealed one of the oldest known sentences on record, a plea against contracting lice that was engraved on a Bronze Age comb in the language of the Canaanites. The engraving on the ivory comb translates to, "May this tusk root out the lice of the hair and the beard." Many experts think that around 4,000 years ago, the Canaanites invented the world's first alphabet called Proto-Sinaitic script. This script, invented by Canaanite workers at an Egyptian turquoise mine in the Sinai region, developed into the Phoenician alphabet, which later inspired the early Hebrew, Greek, and Roman alphabets. And this is according to Owen Jarvis on Life Science. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.